A night on the Ganges. Close your eyes. Breathe out slowly, all the way. Release everything. Then breathe in. Warm air, slow air, air touched by incense and river water, the faintest trace of jasmine on a night wind from far away. You're going somewhere tonight, somewhere very old, somewhere very still. Let the world you came from set itself down beside you, gently. Come with me. You're standing at the edge of the Ganges. It is the earliest hour before dawn. The river is wide here, wider than you expected, wider than any river you've stood beside before. In the darkness, the water is black and silver. It moves with a slow, deep intention. The river knows exactly where it's going. It always has known. It is simply doing what rivers do, moving steadily, carrying everything it's been given, releasing nothing it needs to keep. You can hear it, a low, continuous sound, not loud, not insistent, simply present, the voice of water, moving over stone, over ancient sand, over the same bed it's been carving for millions of years. Behind you, the ghats rise in long stone steps. They climb from the water's edge up toward the old city. The steps are pale sandstone. 10,000 years of bare feet have worn them smooth, descending to touch the sacred water. At this hour, the ghats are quiet. A few oil lamps burn in small alcoves carved into the stone walls, tiny flames, perfectly still in the windless air. They put out their warm amber light. Without any hurry, they've been burning here as long as anyone can remember. They will keep burning after tonight. Hands will wake before dawn to tend them, to trim the wicks and add the oil. Their parents did this before them. Their parents' parents did this before them. An unbroken chain of small, faithful actions. It stretches back, further than the lamp tenders themselves can trace. You sit down on one of the lower steps. You are close to the water. The stone is cool beneath you. River stone, cooled through the night. It holds the coolness even now, even after centuries of sun. The river moves past, a few feet away. The lamp behind you casts a shadow, long, soft, reaching to the water's edge. This is one of the oldest cities on earth. People have come to these steps for 3,000 years, maybe more, coming to bathe, to pray, watching the sun rise over the river, releasing what they carried into the water, letting the water take it downstream. Every kind of person, every kind of grief, every kind of gratitude, all of it given to the river, all of it carried south. You are one of a very long line. You have sat here, on this step, listening to this river move, not the same step. The steps have been rebuilt over the centuries. Floods have reshaped the ghats. Time has reshaped them. But this quality of sitting, this act of coming to the river in the dark, being still beside it, that hasn't changed. It is not a small thought. Let it settle. Breathe with the river now, not its speed. It moves faster than a breath. Its quality, continuous, unhurried, carrying forward. It releases nothing by effort. It simply flows. Flowing is what it is. That is the breath you are after tonight. The breath that doesn't try. The breath that simply happens, like a river, like the turning of the earth, like sleep. Let the river carry you northward, not by speed, not by effort. Just imagine how the mind travels when you close your eyes in a warm room. The Ganges flows from the Himalayas. Follow it upstream. into the foothills, enter the gorges where the river is still fast and cold and narrow, then higher into the alpine valleys where snow stays on the north-facing slopes all year, then higher still, the air grows colder, cleaner, thinner, the vegetation thins away, the sky turns a deeper blue, and eventually you arrive somewhere. It doesn't feel like the earth you know, it feels like the beginning of the sky. The Himalayas rise from the northern edge of the subcontinent. They form a long, continuous arc, the highest mountain range in the world, 2,400 kilometers end to end, home to 14 of the world's highest peaks. But the numbers cannot carry you there. The numbers cannot tell you about the light. Sunlight arrives at this height without softening. There is no thick atmosphere to diffuse it. Shadows are very sharp, very black. The lit surfaces glow with an uncomfortable intensity, as if the mountain glows from within. The white of glacier ice, in this light, is not merely bright. It is a different category of bright, something without a name. Our languages were built at sea level. You are at altitude now, 15,000 feet perhaps. The air is thin and cold and perfectly still. In every direction, peaks, white peaks, gray peaks, the pale yellow-brown of exposed rock where the wind has swept the snow away. In the valleys below, glaciers move, imperceptibly, rivers of ice creeping downhill, a few meters each year. They carve the landscape over millennia. You can see the shapes they have made. The glacier that feeds the Ganges has done this for millions of years. It was here, before humans walked the subcontinent below. It will be here, long after. At this altitude, the stars are different. You look up, and they are simply there, bright and present, not seen through depth, not filtered through haze, flat against a sky so dark, it almost has texture. No light pollution here, no smear across the dark. The Milky Way is a structure, a band of distinct lights, individual stars visible within it. The whole thing arches, horizon to horizon. It has the feeling of something very real, very close. Ancient astronomers mapped these stars from the plains below. They named them, they built calendars from them, they planted by them, harvested by them, for thousands of years. The sky was their clock, their compass, their scripture. From here you understand why. From here the sky is impossible to ignore. You breathe the high cold air. Your breath mists just in front of you. The stars are brilliant and still. Somewhere far below, the Ganges begins. A trickle of meltwater from the base of the Gangotri Glacier. Cold, clear, barely a stream, the width of your arm. Then it begins its long journey, down and south and west, gathering tributaries as it goes, growing wider with each valley, slowing as the land flattens, warming as the altitude drops, becoming the great river, the one that reaches the plains, the ghats, and finally the sea. It begins here, in this cold, in this silence, in this specific quality of starlight, falling on the glacier, and not absorbed but reflected, sent back up into the sky from which it came, bouncing between stars and ice, a conversation so old it has no beginning. Let the imagination travel south and west, across the subcontinent, to a different time. 4,000 years ago, the oldest cities of the Indian subcontinent were not on the Ganges, they were on the Indus River. Far to the west, the Indus Valley civilization was one of 4 great early urban civilizations, along with Mesopotamia, Egypt, and China. These cities were so well planned, so carefully made. When archaeologists excavated them in the 20th century, they were confused. They assumed the cities must be more recent. They were not. Mohenjo-Daro. The name means, roughly, mound of the dead. Later people gave this name to the ancient ruins rising above the flat plain. But 4,000 years ago, Mohenjo-Daro was alive. Perhaps 40,000 people lived there, one of the largest cities in the ancient world. Its streets were laid out in a precise grid. Its buildings were made of fired brick, kiln-fired, carefully sized, standardized to an exact ratio. The same bricks, the same proportions, found across 1 million square kilometers of civilization. Every town, every building, the same. Its drainage was more sophisticated than Egypt's, more sophisticated than Mesopotamia's. Covered drains ran beneath every street. Those drains connected to houses with indoor toilets that emptied into sewers, carefully routed away from the city, away from the water. Someone thought about that. A city designed with an engineer's care, built to work, built to keep its people clean. The streets were wide enough for carts. There was no obvious palace, no monument to a single ruler. The architecture suggests organization, not hierarchy, civic function, not power. Each district in its proper place. The granaries, the workshops, the quiet residential quarters. The wells were lined and covered. The rubbish pits were placed downwind. Someone thought about all of this. Thousands of someones. Over many generations, they built it and maintained it and adjusted it. A city as a collective project. A city as the accumulated care of a people who decided living together was worth doing carefully. The Great Bath of Mohenjo-Daro still survives. 12 meters long, 7 wide, lined with fired brick, set in gypsum mortar. They coated it with bitumen to make it watertight. Steps descend into it from each end. It held water. Its position at the center of the city mattered. Its careful waterproofing mattered. The complexity of its construction mattered. These things suggest something more than bathing, a ritual space, a place for ceremonial purification, for the kind of cleanliness that is not about the body, but about the self. The tradition of sacred bathing still brings millions to the Ganges today. It may have begun in this pool, in this city, 4,000 years ago, the same impulse, across all that time, to enter the water and emerge changed. We do not know what language they spoke. The people of Mohenjo-Daro, their words are gone. They left a script, 400 characters, found on thousands of small seals, carved from stone. They pressed those seals into clay to mark goods, to send messages. Modern scholars have never decoded it. Not one word, not one meaning. 400 characters, and silence. They left their city around 1900 BCE, probably over many generations. A shifting climate drove them, the monsoon changing, rivers moving, the land slowly became less reliable, so they left, quietly. No evidence of war exists, no sudden destruction. They simply dispersed, over time, into the landscape. They left their perfectly planned streets behind. They left their great bath behind. They left their unread writing for the ground to cover and the centuries to keep, waiting. You sit at the edge of the great bath now, in imagination. You look at the still water. No one is here. The city is as quiet as it has been for 4,000 years. The stars above are the same stars. The water in the pool is perfectly still. It reflects the sky back up at you. You are surrounded by depth, the depth of the sky above, the depth of the reflected sky below. You at the center of it, weightless between them. You breathe in this ancient place. Something careful was built here, carefully maintained, and then, quietly, released. There is peace in that, in the things that come and go without violence, in the things that simply run their course and step aside. Come south now, and forward in time, to the great temples of South India, built not to house a population, but to be a mountain, a vertical world, a stone cosmology, rising from the flat Tamil plain into the tropical sky. Brihadeeswarar, Madurai, Hampi. These temples were built across many centuries, many dynasties, many lifetimes of labor. They survive in a kind of permanence that makes the word building feel small. They are not buildings, they are geology. They are the earth deciding to become vertical, to stand up, to reach. The Brihadeeswarar Temple at Thanjavur. It was completed in 1010 CE. A Chola king named Rajaraja I built it. Its central tower rises 60 meters of stone reaching upward. Granite was quarried, carried over great distances, assembled without mortar, fitted stone upon stone with precision. It has held for 1,000 years. At the very top sits a single granite sphere, carved stone, weighing approximately 80 tons. Somehow, it was lifted to the summit. The technique is not recorded. Engineers have proposed theories. Long earthen ramps, perhaps. Systems of counterweights. The accumulated ingenuity of many hands. These workers did this thing. Then they left no written account, no explanation, nothing. The result is still there. The sphere sits at 60 meters. It has occupied the same position for 1,000 years. From below, it seems to simply belong there. Inside the temple, the air is always cooler. The thick stone walls absorb the heat. Hold it, keep it out. Within the inner sanctuary, the temperature drops. Your body notices it immediately, gratefully. The floor is smooth stone, worn by 1,000 years of bare feet. The inner sanctum is lit by oil lamps, small flames, quiet, steady flames. They have burned here continuously. Tradition says unbroken, for 1,000 years, the same flame. Passed from wick to wick, tended by generations of priests, never permitted to go out. 1,000 years of continuous light, in the darkness, the stone walls around it warm with accumulated heat. All those flames, all those years, breathing into the rock. You walk the corridors of the outer enclosure, the last hour before the temple closes for the night. The stone pillars are carved, every surface carved. Figures from the ancient stories cover them, gods and demons, celestial musicians, dancers. They are frozen mid-movement in stone. Animals, real and mythological, are here too. In the lamplight, the carvings cast deep shadows. The figures seem to breathe. They seem to shift when you're not looking directly at them. The detail is extraordinary. The curve of a hand, the expression on a face, carved with care. Stone garments look like cloth. Your eye believes it. Each figure was a decision made by a specific person on a specific morning 1,000 years ago. That person made the decision and moved on. Now they are utterly forgotten. Their decisions remain. You sit in the outer courtyard. The night air is warm and still. You look up at the tower against the stars. It is too large to see all at once. You move your eyes from one part to another. The way you look at a mountain, you find it in sections. You assemble it slowly in your mind. The stone is pale in the starlight. The carved figures on the surface are too small to see from here. Just a texture, a roughness, a sense of accumulated intention, 1,000 years of it, rising 60 meters into the sky, crowned with its impossible granite sphere. It does exactly what it was built to do, being a mountain, being permanent, quietly, stubbornly, beautifully here. Now the rain, not just weather, a season, a rhythm. The monsoon is the organizing principle of Indian life. Agricultural life and spiritual life have been shaped around it for centuries. Its arrival was prayed for, celebrated, written about, and mourned when it was late. Classical Indian music has ragas composed for the monsoon season, specific melodic frameworks played only when it rains. The music and the rain arrive together. They are not two things, two expressions of the same thing. The summer monsoon arrives in early June. It comes to India's southwestern coast, carried on ocean winds. Those winds cross the warm Arabian Sea. They carry moisture, so much moisture. Its arrival is not subtle. The sky begins to change over several days. High clouds appear first, then thicker ones. Then a kind of darkness comes, not like ordinary overcast. There is a heaviness in the air, a pressure. You feel something enormous is about to happen. The tree leaves turn their undersides upward. They do this before rain. No botanist has fully explained why. The birds go quiet. The air stops moving. Then the rain begins. Monsoon rain is not ordinary rain. It is warm. It is patient. It does not come in brief showers. It comes in long, continuous episodes, hours, sometimes days. These episodes are interrupted by breaks, pauses for breath. Then the rain resumes. It smells extraordinary, petrichor, the scent of rain on dry earth. Nowhere is that smell more intense than here. After the first monsoon rains fall on ground baked dry for months, it rises from the earth, from the stone, from the ancient soil, like something living, waking up, because that is exactly what it is. You are standing under the wide overhang of an old temple gateway. You are watching the rain fall in the courtyard. The stone around you is wet and gleaming. The rain falls in a continuous curtain across the open space. Where it strikes the floor, it bounces. Tiny splashes rise. Thousands of them every second. There is a continuous hiss beneath the deeper sound of rain on stone. The ancient stones are turning dark with moisture. Pale granite deepens to gray. The carved surfaces stand out more sharply now. The wet reveals their depth. Puddles are forming in every low place in the floor. They are growing. They are reaching toward each other, and slowly they become one. A single shallow sheet of water across the whole courtyard. It reflects the gray sky above, still, quiet, the rain falling into it. The air is 20 degrees cooler than an hour ago. After months of heat, that coolness is extraordinary, almost physical in its relief. It is like stepping into shade, shade with a temperature and a smell. You breathe it in, cool, wet air, the smell of rain and old stone and something green beginning. In the villages near here, farmers are watching the same rain fall. They are watching it fall on their fields. Their feeling is not quite like anything else. Relief and gratitude and work beginning all at once. The rice will be planted now, the wells will fill, the rivers will rise and carry the silt. That silt makes the soil of the great river plains among the most fertile on earth. The soil will be ready, the planting will feed what comes next. You breathe beside the monsoon. The rain continues. It will continue for weeks. You breathe the cool air and listen to the rain on stone. Not a sound you hear so much as a sound you are inside of. Surrounded by it, held within it, 700 monsoons have fallen on this stone courtyard. 700 dry seasons have evaporated the water back. 700 cycles of wet and dry, growing and resting, filling and releasing. The stone has absorbed all of it. It stands unchanged. You sit in the middle of that patience and rest. Let the rain fall. Let it fall around you, past you, through you. Let it carry away whatever is still clinging to your day. The rain knows how to rinse things clean. High in a steep hillside, above a river, there are caves, 30 of them, carved into volcanic rock over 900 years, from the 2nd century before the Common Era to the 5th century after. Buddhist monks and their patrons came here. They carved these caves into the rock face, one by one. The isolation suited contemplation. They left something behind, something extraordinary. No one would discover it again for more than 1,000 years. The British officer John Smith found the caves in 1819. He was following a tiger on a hunt. He carved his name in one of the caves. Visitors did that then. The news spread slowly outward. Scholars and archaeologists arrived. They realized what they were seeing. Some of the greatest art of the ancient world. The paintings had survived. The caves were sealed by vegetation. The forest grew over the entrances. 1,000 years of accidental preservation. 1,000 years of the world turning away, leaving this art alone, in the dark. You stand at the entrance of one of the main caves. You let your eyes adjust. The cave is cool. The rock holds a temperature far below the heat outside. The coolness is immediate. A full body relief. The interior is vast. The ceiling is high. Carved pillars support it. They are arranged in rows. Each pillar is decorated with paintings, still vivid after 20 centuries. On the walls, scenes from the Buddha's life, scenes from the Jataka tales, the stories of his previous lives, painted in extraordinary detail. Natural pigments, ground from lapis lazuli and malachite, cinnabar and ochre, and lamp black, mixed with a binder that is held for 2,000 years. The faces in the paintings are the faces of people, not idealized, not symbols, people, individual expressions, individual gestures, a quality of attention entirely their own. A woman looking over her shoulder, a man leaning forward to hear something, a child sleeping, its face soft with sleep. The artists who painted these walls were depicting the people around them, the people of the 5th century, their faces, their clothes, their postures, the quality of light in the rooms they inhabited. 2,000 years later, you can look at these faces, you can recognize something, not a period, not a culture, a quality of being human that does not change. You sit in the cool of the cave. Let your eyes move slowly over the paintings. The lamplight from the entrance reaches some of them, not all. The deeper sections are in shadow. The figures there seem to emerge from the dark. They recede into it too. It feels intentional. The artist knew. They knew the paintings would be partly seen. They designed for that condition, partly visible, partly suggested, the way memory works, the way a half-remembered dream works. It shows you its edges, not its center. You sit in the ancient dark. Ancient faces surround you. You breathe the cool cave air. You let the quiet enter you. The civilization of ancient India developed one of the most sophisticated astronomical traditions in the world. Long before telescopes, before modern mathematics, Indian astronomers were calculating planetary positions with extraordinary accuracy. They predicted eclipses. They measured the circumference of the Earth. They developed the mathematical tools that would underpin modern science, including the concept of zero. Zero was not a trivial invention. It is the idea that nothing can be a quantity, that absence can be counted, that the void itself has a number. Someone in ancient India decided that was true. They wrote it down. The history of mathematics changed permanently. Aryabhata wrote in 499 CE. He calculated the solar year as 365.358 days. The modern measured value is 365.256 days. He worked without instruments, only observation, only mathematical reasoning. He was accurate to within a fraction of a percent. He also proposed that the Earth rotates on its axis, that the Earth moves, not the sky. This was more than 1,000 years before Copernicus made the same claim in Europe. He was right. The idea didn't take immediate hold. Ideas that reorder the world rarely do, but it was there, written down, waiting. You lie on the flat roof of an old dharamshala, a pilgrim rest house in Rajasthan. The air is warm and still. The sky above is enormous. Desert skies are enormous. No humidity hazes the stars. No hills cut the horizon. Just the great arc of the sky. It stretches from one edge of the earth to the other. In it are stars beyond counting. Jupiter is rising in the east. The Milky Way runs from south to north. A meteor crosses the sky, a brief diagonal scratch of light. Then it's gone. It leaves no mark on the sky, no mark on the night, except that you saw it, you breathed, you felt the specific feeling. It comes from seeing something that traveled millions of miles. It ended its journey in a moment of light in the sky above you, just that. The ancient astronomers gave names to the 27 lunar mansions, the nakshatras. These are the constellations the moon passes through. It orbits monthly. They tracked the planets. They gave them names. They watched the sky the way a craftsperson watches their material, attentively, over years and decades, learning its nature, learning what it would do, learning what it would not do. What they learned from the sky, they integrated into everything else. They understood time differently, agriculture differently, medicine, architecture, music. The sky was not separate from life. It was the structure within which life was organized. It held everything, quietly. You look at the same stars Aryabhata looked at, and Brahmagupta after him, and the long line of sky watchers before them, those whose names were not written down, or were written, and did not survive. They looked up, as you look up now. The stars have not changed. The light reaching your eyes tonight left those stars thousands of years ago, some of it before Aryabhata was born, some of it before Mohenjo-Daro was built. You are looking at the past, always when you look at stars, a past so deep that all of human history sits near the surface. The ghats, the temples, the monsoon, the painted caves, almost recent, almost. You breathe the warm night air. Let the stars have their depth. Let it recede. Let it go as far back as it goes. Rest at the near end of it, here, In this warm present moment, under all of this, one person, one night, exactly enough. Somewhere in the countryside, far from any city, there is a banyan tree. You walked out from a village in the early evening, and then you found it, or it found you. Banyan trees aren't hard to notice. It's enormous, not tall. Banyans don't grow especially tall, but vast. The original trunk is thick and gnarled. It sits somewhere near the center. From its horizontal branches, aerial roots have descended. Over centuries, they've touched the ground and thickened into secondary trunks. From those trunks, more branches came, more roots came. The single tree became a small forest. It shades a space of several hundred square meters. Its canopy is continuous, a low green dome. You cannot see from one side to the other, just the canopy stretching away, quiet and vast. In Hindu tradition, the banyan is the cosmic tree, Ashvattha in Sanskrit, the world tree. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes himself as the Ashvattha among trees, the most sacred, the most representative of what a tree can be. There is something about these trees. They invite stillness. Something about the scale and the slowness, the way a banyan's growth is measured in decades, in centuries, rather than years. It makes your urgency feel smaller, more manageable, more temporary than it seemed a moment ago. The tree has been here longer than the road. The road doesn't seem temporary, and yet the banyan knows something the road doesn't. You find a spot at the base of one of the secondary trunks. You sit with your back against it. The bark is rough and warm from the day's sun. The ground beneath the canopy is dry, even now. The tree has drawn so much moisture from the soil, from the air, over so many years. The ground beneath it has its own quiet world, sheltered, dry, cool. Above you, through the leaves, the evening sky is just beginning to darken. The first star appears, barely visible, pale against the still light sky. Then more, the sky deepens, from blue to violet, to the first genuine dark of night. Still, you are still, and the dark is kind. Birds are settling into the banyan for the night. The tree is a city for birds, dozens of species, hundreds of individuals, threading through the branches. They call, they answer, they find their particular branch. Then they become still. The sound of settling is not a single sound. It is a conversation, intricate, social, conducted in languages you don't speak, but your body understands it, without translation. This is the hour of settling. This is when the day releases its grip. This is when things find their place and become still. The birds settle, the sky deepens, the stars multiply, the Milky Way appears, faintly. The humid air doesn't hide it completely. The tree is very still. You are very still. Beneath the banyan, in the warm dark of the Indian night, the smell of earth and leaf surrounds you. There is the faint sweetness of a night blooming flower, carried on the still air. It is jasmine, the jasmine you smelled when you first arrived. You were at the river's edge. Your breathing has become very slow. You haven't noticed it slowing. It has simply found the pace the night asks for. Slow, open, easy, like something that is just happening. It doesn't need to be managed. It doesn't need to be directed. Like a river, like rain, like sleep. Come down now, down from temples and caves and desert skies. Enter a village, a small village in the interior, in Maharashtra perhaps, or the foothills of Madhya Pradesh. It is not a famous place. No travelers come here. No ancient ruins are nearby. It is simply a village, one that has been here for a long time. It does what villages do. It grows food. It makes things, raises children, tends animals. It sleeps. It wakes. It sleeps again across the generations. You're sitting at the edge of a courtyard. A family lives here, a large family. 3 generations in the same compound. Families have lived this way for centuries. The walls are mud plaster, painted a deep ochre yellow, warm even in the dark. The cooking fire has burned down to coals, orange glow, steady and low. Very little smoke now. The meal was finished an hour ago. The clay vessels have been rinsed, set upside down on the low stone shelf, left along the wall to dry. The matriarch sits near the coals. She's not doing anything. She's simply sitting in the warm orange glow. This is how people sit when they've done everything that needed doing. Just sitting, just still. The village dogs are settling. There are 3 of them, lean, tan-colored, half wild, sleeping now at different spots around the outer wall. One of them sighs in its sleep, a long, slow, shuddering exhalation. This is how dogs sigh when they've reached the place they were heading. The cattle in the enclosure are still. The only sound they make now is breathing, deep and rhythmic, like a bellows working at its own pace, a sound that needs no attention. It asks for none. In one of the rooms off the courtyard, a woman is putting a child to sleep. You can hear it, the low murmur of her voice, too quiet, too far away to make out words, but the rhythm of it unmistakable, the ancient music of a parent settling a child for the night, in every language, in every century, in every small courtyard that has ever existed. That particular murmur. The child makes a small sound. The murmur continues. The small sound again. And then, nothing. The child is asleep. The murmur goes quiet. The stars are out tonight. Visible through the open roof, they wait, still and very far away. A gecko crosses the ochre wall, slowly, 1 foot at a time. It disappears into a crack in the plaster. The lamp near the cooking fire gutters once. A small breath of air from somewhere. Then it steadies. The coals pulse with their slow internal light. Dimmer now than before. Cooler, quieter. They consume themselves without urgency, without complaint. Spent fires do this. They'll be ash by morning. That is what they're becoming. This village has been here 400 years. Before this family, another family. Before this compound, another structure, built on the same earth, the same stone foundation, water drawn from the same well. The ochre paint is renewed each year after the monsoon, a tradition so old, no one remembers when it started, only that it is done. 400 times these walls have been new, then old, then new again, ancient and freshly made, both at once. You breathe the night air of the courtyard, coals, cook fire smoke, and the earth here, warm and specific, a smell that has no name in any language you know. The matriarch near the coals has closed her eyes. The stars are where they should be. The animals are still, the children are asleep, the coals are dying at their own pace. The night is doing what nights do, and you are sitting in the middle of it, breathing, nowhere else to be, nothing that needs doing until morning. Let that be enough. Let it be everything. Return now to the Ganges, but later in the day, at the hour of the evening aarti, the sun is setting over the far bank. The light is orange and horizontal. It touches the surface of the river at an angle. That angle makes the water glow from within. The ghats are full. Thousands of people have come to the river, pilgrims from every part of India, every age, every background. They line the steps from the water's edge, all the way up, all the way to the temples behind. On the main ghat, young priests prepare. They wear silk robes. They move quietly, carefully. Large brass lamps hold multiple wicks. They are elaborate. They are heavy. They are being lit one by one. The lamps will be lifted and swung in slow circles. Their flames describe arcs of warm light, arcs curving through the evening air, an offering of fire to the river, to the sky, to whatever is listening. It happens every evening. It has happened every evening for as long as anyone can remember. The river receives the offering and moves on, south toward the sea, carrying everything it has been given. This is not a metaphor. It is simply true. The conch shells begin. The sound carries across the water. It rises up into the evening air. It reaches the old city behind the ghats. Then the bells begin. Hundreds of bells, each one different. They layer into a continuous ringing. Not noise, something else. A frequency, a resonance. You feel it as much as hear it. The stone of the ghats has been absorbing it for centuries. It will go on absorbing. It will always absorb. The lamps are lifted. The ceremony begins. The priests move in slow choreography. They have practiced it since childhood. Their fathers practiced before them. The transmission across generations, still precise, still intentional, still real. You are in a small wooden boat. The river drifts beneath you, slowly. The ghats rise above, and you watch from the water. The ceremony unfolds on the steps above you. The lamps move in their long, slow arcs. The priests wear orange and white. Thousands of people watch. Not silence, fullness, a fullness of attention, held still. Below your boat, the water holds a reflection. A second ceremony, inverted, moving with the small waves, slightly less clear, but entirely present. Fire on the water, and fire in the water. Between them, the river moves south. The evening aarti is over, perhaps 30 minutes. Then it is done. The lamps are set down, the bells slow and stop. The last peal fades into the evening air. It almost reaches silence, almost. Then the sound of the crowd returns. The murmur of 10,000 conversations beginning again, the splash of people descending the lower steps, touching the sacred water quietly. The people who arrived early stay. They sit on the stone in the last of the light, watching the river, in no hurry to leave. A few small boats carry oil lamps, diyas set in little cups of leaves. They are launched from the ghats, drifting downstream. Each one is a prayer sent by the river, going wherever the river is going. The lamps drift past your boat, one by one. Each one is a small, determined light, specific, quiet, burning. The same current carries them all. They are going the same direction, toward the same dark, open sea. You watch them go, one, and then another, and then a cluster, and then one again. Each one made by a specific person, someone with a specific reason for making it. They held it for a moment, before setting it on the water. The river carries them all the same way, with the same care, the same indifference, the same absolute willingness to carry whatever is given to it. South. You breathe the evening air of the river, the smell of incense and water, and the slight sweetness of marigold flowers scattered on the surface, drifting past now in orange clumps. The last light is leaving the western sky. The first stars are appearing. Far to the east, the river is silver and black and moving. The prayer lamps are still visible downstream, growing smaller, becoming a cluster of sparks against the dark water, and then fewer, and then one, and then none, gone. But the river carries them. Everything that touches the river carries. That is what rivers do. Let the river carry you, downstream now, slowly. Let the night deepen around you. Let the ghats and the temples slide past on the bank. Let the lamp-lit windows of the old city drift by, growing quieter as the hour grows later, until only the river's sound remains, that low, continuous, unhurried sound, the same sound you heard when you first arrived at the water's edge. You are drifting south now. The river always drifts south. Everything eventually moves toward the sea. Think of all the places you have been tonight. The cold starlight of the Himalayas, where the Ganges begins. The ancient streets of Mohenjo-Daro, silent for 4,000 years. The granite tower of the Brihadeeswarar Temple, its 80-ton sphere against the sky. The monsoon rain, falling warm on old stone, cool on your skin. The star-filled sky of Rajasthan, the same sky Aryabhata once calculated from. The painted faces in the Ajanta caves, as alive today as the day they were made. The banyan tree, settling into dark. The birds quieting, one by one. The prayer lamps drifting downstream, each one a small determined light, carried by the current. The subcontinent you visited tonight, it is one of the oldest places on Earth. Human beings have lived here for 60,000 years, perhaps longer, building, naming, worshipping, praying, lighting lamps, sitting beside rivers, listening to rain. The cities rose and were covered and were found again. The temples were built, stone by stone, across centuries. They have outlasted the names of those who built them. The rivers were named and made sacred. They were followed to the sea, and tonight they are still being followed. All of that time, all of that devotion, it is not a weight you have to carry. It is a kind of ground beneath you, evidence that things go on, that the next hour comes, and the next day, and the next monsoon, as reliably as the river moving south. You are part of that continuity, whether you feel it or not. You are one more person, on one more night, sitting beside the water, breathing, letting the river carry what you no longer need to hold. Your body is heavy now, heavy in the good way, the weight of a long journey, the weight of having been somewhere real. Let your shoulders drop, let your hands open, palms upward, receive nothing, hold nothing. Let your face relax, the jaw, the space between your eyes. Release the muscles at your temples. They have held tension so long, they have forgotten rest. The river is carrying you. The Banyan is still. Somewhere, the monsoon rain is falling on old stone. Warm, continuous. You are inside that sound now, not outside it. Breathing with it, in and out, slow and slower. Somewhere on the Ganges tonight, a few small lamps are burning, persistent in the dark, carried south by the current. Each one holds a wish, released into the water. What is yours? You don't need to name it. Simply let it go. The way you let a lamp go, at the river's edge, trusting the current, trusting the direction. The river knows where it is going. Even when you cannot see that far, it does. You know where you are going to. The same place, downstream. Think of the matriarch in the village courtyard, her eyes closed, beside the dying coals, her breathing slow and steady in the orange glow. Think of the child asleep in the room off the courtyard, the murmur that settled it, long gone quiet, quiet now. Think of the birds settled into the banyan, each one in its particular place, still now, breathing slowly in the warm dark. Think of the priests who tended the temple lamp, 1,000 years of nights, waking, crossing the dark corridor, trimming the wick, returning to sleep. So many times it became effortless as the river, as effortless as the monsoon, returning each year with its warm particular rain. You are one of all these people tonight. One more person, finding rest. One more body, releasing what it held. Your mind becoming quieter now, quieter and quieter as the night deepens. The river carries you the way it carries everything, without effort, without preference, without urgency. The current is where you are. There is nothing to do but be carried. Let your thoughts arrive and pass, like small things the river carries, a leaf, a flower petal, a reflection of a star, arriving, passing, going south. You don't need to follow them. Let them go. They're carried now. The river has them. Toward rest, toward the quiet that waits for you. It waits at the end of every day. It holds you through every night. It releases you every morning back into the next. You're nearly there. The current is gentle and steady. The dark is close and warm and entirely without danger. Let the river take you. Sleep. The Ganges keeps moving. Sleep. Sleep.